Welcome to the Black Girl Burnout podcast. Kelley here, and today is a special episode. I'm really kind of excited. We are closing out the year. It's been a good one. I have been so grateful for each and every one of you who is listening to this podcast. It makes all the difference. It reminds me that what this podcast stands for, what we are all about as a community, has never been more needed, and that we're not alone. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for a fantastic 2025 for Black Girl Burnout. There's been some changes and you all rode with them. I went from 3 times a week podcasting to once a week. I also started Substack this year, and that has exploded in ways I just didn't anticipate or imagine. And as I always do, the most over there at Substack, I was doing 3 times a week posting, and I had an $8 subscription tier. I have since dropped that subscription tier to $5 just because I realized that what Black women need more than ever are tools and ease. And so now the membership, if you join us on Substack, gives you both. Instead of doing weekly content drops, I'm doing a monthly workshop that I do for my clients during my day, practical skills for life around burnout recovery, around perfectionism, around managing corporate life and excelling professionally. I'm going to give that to the Substack paid subscribers for $5 a month. Once a month, we're going to connect, we're going to meet, we're going to chit chat. I'm going to give you content that hopefully changes the way you live your life and tools to do it, along with a Q&A episode every month for the members. This is a way that honors both you and both me and my capacity and what I can get done in a day so I don't burn out, but still stay so excited and engaged. So now is the time, as we're thinking about new year, new possibilities, new things you want to do and learn for yourself. Think about the membership. $5 a month. You can cancel at any time. It could be for you. Anyways, that's the exciting things going on in Substack and the exciting year Black Girl Burnout has had. But today's episode is special because I feel like this is going to be the manifesto episode. It's the moment where I share the guiding principles that are going to shape not just this podcast, but really the entire community as we move into 2025. You've heard me talk over the past couple episodes about going in a slight new direction, taking on a new type of grounding and clarity around what Black Girl Burnout stands for. And today I'm bringing all of that into light. I'm giving you the Black Girl Burnout Commandments. They're not rules, they're not demands, they're just truths, anchors, and gentle foundations for building a soft, liberated, and deeply intentional life. These commandments are really kind of the heart of the 4 pillars that are going to be the roadmap for 2026. And they're permission slips for you to stop living in struggle and to step into softness. I'm excited to jump in, so let's do it. And let me share with you why I needed these new commandments. I've been talking about this a lot as I look out at the changing landscape of this year. 2025 has been just an incredibly challenging and rewarding year for me personally, professionally, but also just globally, it has been extremely challenging. Things have changed. The world has changed. I've changed. I think we as a collective have changed. And honestly, the things that worked before don't now. We're navigating deeper exhaustion, greater uncertainty, a louder cultural pressure somehow. Our relationships have gotten more complex, and there is a level of emotional overload that I've never seen before. And it's not one that can be solved with hustle. This is the moment where we need maybe a little bit of an adjustment in the framework, one that centers humanity over productivity, liberation and getting free over performance, and as always, softness over struggle. These commandments, they're not going to be about doing more. They're about unlearning the things that keep us constantly depleted and reclaiming and owning the things that bring us back to life. This is your new foundation. This is Black Girl Burnout's new foundation. So let's walk through 5 of the commandments that I have set up for myself, for this podcast, and hopefully for you to take what you need and leave behind what doesn't resonate. Let's walk through them, do a little bit of a deep dive, go a little more slow, more soft, and with more intention. So commandment number 1 is that rest is going to be the first response, not the last resort. I've said this multiple times. Rest is not a reward. It's not something you earn after you've proven yourself and done all the goals. It's not optional. It's not something we get at the bottom of our to-do list. And for too many of us, we've been raised in environments where being exhausted is somehow a badge of honor. But if you've been on this journey with me, you know the truth. Burnout has taught us some pretty powerful lessons that actually rest is essential for clarity, for creativity, for survival. In 2026, we lead with rest. We choose it early, we choose it often, and we don't wait until we're falling apart to do it. So commandment number 1, lead with rest. Rest is the first response. It's not the last resort. How about commandment number 2? This is ease is not the enemy of excellence. So many of us have been socialized to believe that if we didn't hurt, somehow the effort doesn't count, that we have to be always overcoming, that excellence has to come with some level of strain in our lives, that something has to be lost, that success must come with sacrifice. I'm here to disrupt that narrative for myself, for my family and friends, and for each and every one of you. It is time to say no to that kind of thinking. Because the truth is, ease does not mean you're lazy. Ease does not mean you're less ambitious. Ease becomes the place where your brilliance, where all that you are capable of finally has an opportunity to exist and grow and thrive. We are no longer carrying a narrative that to be great means you have to suffer. To be worthy means you have to be constantly in the grind. Excellence and ease can live side by side and actually do so beautifully. I've been having conversations over and over on this podcast, and it has always come back to a joy and ease-led life is always going to be the one where your brilliance shines. It's always going to be the one that's going to ensure that you have the successes you're looking for. I know in my life that's been the case, and I want to be more clear about solidifying that the way I'm going to live my life is that ease and excellence go hand in hand. They are not enemies. So again, commandment number 2 was ease is not the enemy of excellence, and that ease and joy-centered living is the best way forward. That brings me to commandment number 3, which is that joy is a worthy data point. So when we talk about joy, we think about it in this kind of abstract extra bonus thing. That if you are lucky, if you are fortunate, you get to have joy too. Just like ease, we treat joy as a luxury, as an afterthought, not as something that tells us a story, that gives us important information. Joy is not frivolous. It's not an extra. It's not something that you sprinkle on top of your life when everything else is done. Joy is actually a guide. It's a compass. It is data that tells you what drains you, what excites and nourishes you. It lets you know what people, what places, what things, what type of work honors you. When something brings you joy, in 2026, I'm going to ask you to pay attention. And when something steals your joy, pay attention to. Joy is a kind of soulful, spiritual intelligence. Like it is data. And too often, it's the last question we ask ourselves. How many times a day are you asking, does this bring me joy? How many times a day are you asking, does this steal my joy? Commandment number 3, joy is data, and I'm going to treat it as a truth. I'm going to let joy dictate how I live my life. Commandment number 4, you don't have to earn softness. We've talked about this for years, but now I want to cement it as a commandment of this podcast. Softness, like joy, like ease, isn't some prize. It's not conditional. It's not granted to people who are rich or successful or white. Softness is for everyone at any time. And you don't have to wait until you're quote unquote healed or productive or pretty or partnered or wealthy enough to be treated gently. In 2026, I am affirming out loud that softness, just like joy, just like abundance, just like community, is my birthright. That softness is the starting point. This year, I believe I had an episode called Goodness or Get Out, where I affirmed that if you cannot bring goodness to me, I don't want you in my life. I am not voluntarily bringing you in. Well, I could argue it's softness or get out starting in 2026. It's my baseline, and that I am going to prioritize making softness available even when I'm stressed or messy or unsure about the world. Let's talk about something too many of us carry in silence: money. The fear, the shame, the confusion, the pressure to hold it all together when it feels like everything is falling apart. Debt, divorce, caregiving, trying to stretch one check into two. Financial stress doesn't just drain your bank account, it drains your spirit. But you don't have to figure it out alone. There's a place where you can lay that burden down and get real help: the Savvy Ladies Helpline. It's free. Yes, free. You'll be matched with a certified financial expert for a private one-on-one session, someone who will listen without judgment and help you take the next right step. You can ask the hard questions. How do I start building wealth even if I've made mistakes? How do I get out of debt? What happens to my money after a breakup? How do I put more joy into my budgeting? This call could change your life because clarity brings peace, and peace with your money is true freedom. Savvy Ladies is a nonprofit dedicated to helping women, especially women like us, learn, plan, and reclaim control of our financial lives. So please, don't stay in silence. Go to savvyladies.org and book your free session today. You don't have to struggle alone anymore. Help is waiting for you. As someone who suffers with anemia, I know all too well how life-altering iron deficiency can be. Whether it's the overwhelming fatigue, the dry and brittle nails, the difficulty concentrating, it takes a toll. And then sometimes the supplements and treatments for iron deficiency have unpleasant side effects. That's why I'm excited about Citarol. Citarol from PharmaNutra is a premium iron supplement powered by sucrosomial technology. This helps your body absorb 3 to 4 times more iron while avoiding the common side effects of traditional iron supplements, the nausea and constipation. Citarol stands apart with 150 published clinical studies, unlike most supplement brands that have little to no clinical research. It's globally trusted and it's convenient. You can take it at any time, so there's no need to adjust your meals. It fits seamlessly into your day. It's 100% allergen-free, it's vegan and gluten-free. So if you're nodding along and I'm describing the symptoms because you are exhausted and your brain feels like it's in a fog, this could be exactly what you need. Join over 2 million people who have already discovered Citarol and found the help they needed. Head to pharmanutra-us.com and use the code BGB for 10% off your first order of Citarol. That's pharmanutra-us.com. Promo code BGB for 10% off today. Another affirmation I gave all year long was, when the world gets hard, I become soft. I'm done with having to prove that I deserve it or that I have to earn it. I am going to start with softness as my birthright. And for you listening, the world may not have treated you softly, but that doesn't mean you're not allowed to treat yourself that way. So make it a commandment that you do not have to earn your softness. The last commandment is you get to choose a life that does not hurt. And this one is all about liberation and freedom. This one might be my favorite. When we had Tara Pringle Jefferson on a few weeks ago, we talked about this epiphany that she had where a friend of hers said that she didn't have to do things the hard way. She had this realization she didn't. And she went about building her life in a way that supported her, that allowed her to soften, that allowed her to have more ease. And I think so many of us are used to thinking that we have to have a life where something is always going wrong, where there's some pain factor in our world. And I've never been one for toxic positivity. So I'm here to tell you that life does hurt sometimes. There are moments that are painful that we can't plan for, we can't anticipate, and we can't avoid. But that does not mean that we have to live a life that is full of hurt. Whether it is unhealed, spiritual, emotional, or physical wounds, they don't have to be a reality that sits with us. We can get help. We can go to a doctor. We can get a therapist. We can talk to a spiritual leader or do meditation and deep introspective work. You do not have to carry forward maybe some of the things that you learned growing up or culturally, that life is supposed to be hard or chaotic or painful, and that the best thing you can hope for is to just suffer beautifully and gracefully. The truth is, I've talked about opting out of struggle, but I want you to know that you are allowed to opt out of pain that is unnecessary, culturally inherited, or self-inflicted. And what do I mean when I say that? I mean that means you can choose peace over performance. You can choose boundaries over burnout. You can choose aligned and relationships that are generous and reciprocal over draining ones. You can choose work that is nourishing versus depleting. And you can center joy and ease as a lifestyle and not some kind of luxury in your life. You get to choose a life that does not hurt. And you can do that even if no one around you has done it before. And I think that's really key. So many of us are firsts and onlys and blazing a trail that has never existed before. We are talking about joy for the first time. We are talking about self-care. We are talking about unpacking generational and cultural trauma. These are new concepts that nobody talked about 30 and 40 years ago. Nobody talked about 20 years ago, at least not in the mainstream. And here we are, fortunate today to honor those who came before us by living a life that doesn't hurt. And that means we get to make choices that limit how often we feel pain in our lives. It doesn't eliminate it, but we can certainly mitigate it or lessen its impacts. I want to affirm one more time that you get to choose a life that does not hurt, even if no one around you has done it before. And to that point, I want to be a part of that journey. I want Black Girl Burnout to be a part of that journey. It's the journey I'm on. I'm actively telling myself when I make decisions, I'm thinking about these commandments. I'm thinking about joy. I'm thinking about rest first, not last. I'm thinking about the fact that my life can be easeful and excellent. And I am actively, I promise you, every day building a life that does not hurt, where the hurts are minimized. They're not just ideas, these commandments. They're the foundation for everything I'm doing with my life and everything that I want to bring to this podcast and everything that we're moving into as a community. And to that end, I've created the podcast based upon 4 pillars. I talked a little bit about them before, but I really want to lay them out a little bit. The first one is something called soft life liberation. That means that I want us to be free, but I want us to get free softly. I want us to do so with ease first, with gentleness, and with kindness to ourselves. The second pillar is going to be practical healing for everyday living. I want to give you tools for a real life, not the perfect life. If we wait around for that, we'll never get them. And then third, I really want to focus on joy, which I always have, but also creative living. I talked a lot this year about pleasure and play and curiosity. And I think it's really important that we talk more about that and that it's integral to the podcast. And last but not least, I'm going to talk about money, work, and productivity, all without burnout. I want to give you tools that create a sustainable life, not a life where you're trying to hustle all the time to be successful. The fact is I have worked in a C-suite. I have had the job with an impressive title. I have stepped into entrepreneurship. I have burned out multiple times. I have participated in hustle culture and come to regret it over and over again. I'm not telling you anything I haven't experienced or something that I haven't worked through myself, maybe still be working through. And more importantly, I have tools that I have learned, I have certifications that I want to bring even more of next year to give you the tools to have the life that you deserve, to have a life that is liberated, that is healed, creative, joyous, and productive. So you're going to see these commandments show up in every episode that's released in some way, shape, or form. In the future workshops I'm doing over in the membership at Substack, monthly live sessions there too. I'm going to start thinking about ways to cultivate conversations together in a way that we can move forward together with a new standard of softness, liberation, and choosing ourselves. So that's where Black Girl Burnout is going for 2026. And I could not be more excited isn't the word. I think the word is probably liberated, more joyful. I have released a lot of things that I had to work through for myself behind the scenes about podcasting and what it looks like and how it's going to be. And I'm just showing up to the space with gratitude and generosity and getting so much back from you all and every review you leave and every comment you make and every subscription you buy. I am truly grateful and truly joyful and joyous about it. And so as we close out the episode for today, I want you to think about the commandments. Maybe one resonated with you more than another. Pick one. You don't have to do them all. Is there anything you're excited about as we move into the new year of something you want to integrate in your 2026? And if all of that feels very overwhelming and this episode has caught you on your worst day and you are just listening to have noise in the background just to get from one moment to the next, if that's where you are today, I want you to take the biggest breath you've taken all day. Even if you're not having a tough day, let's do okay. Take the biggest breath you've taken all day today. In fact, let's all of us do that together now. And affirm that you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to be soft. You are allowed to trust joy. And you are allowed to create a life that doesn't hurt. This episode isn't a list of homework or expectations. It's just an invitation. The commandments are just giving you permission. May some of them be a guiding light for you in 2026 or provide you a roadmap that you need to make your life as beautiful as you deserve. If this episode resonated with you, hold on to it. Share it with someone. Let them know this is what this podcast is about. Next week is the new year, and we're going to talk about the 4 pillars a little bit more, talk about what I'm excited to bring here, and talk about what's ahead for the month, because I've got some, as always, January special programming for me and how I want to meet those pillars with the episodes that we're going to have in the month. You know the drill. If you enjoyed this episode, this is an opportunity for you to share widely, to let people know it exists, to subscribe to the platforms, and to follow along. And if you feel so inclined, drop a review. They make my world, and we are getting closer and closer to the goal here of getting on Apple 700 reviews, on Spotify 800. And just drop the 5 stars. You don't have to do anything super complex, or you can leave a little quick note like Me All Day did. And this was titled, Kelley is the Real Deal. I'm a therapist too, and I can just tell Kelley has done the real work. Her vulnerability and insightfulness are inspiring and humbling. Love the show and her. Wishing her more success in 2026. Thank you, Me All Day. Thank you. It means the world when people who are therapists also acknowledge and understand and appreciate what this podcast does. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I listen and read every single review, DM, voice message you leave me. You all mean the world to me, and your reviews light my little life up. You can also support the podcast by following along on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Substack. It's all the same. We make it easy over here at Black Girl Burnout. It's Black Girl Burnout. Substack, of course, is my new pet project, and it is exploded in the most amazing of ways. And so for $5 a month, just $5, you have access to monthly workshops with me and a Q&A. You're going to be able to ask questions. I'm going to build them around your needs. The first one's on January 4th, and that one's going to be about creating a vision for your year. So I hope you're there. I'd love to see you. In the meantime, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Be gentle, move slowly, and remember, you are allowed to choose a life that feels good.